I'm Brad.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're the Musial Suspects. Man, this song's still my jam.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I'll be in Walmart and I'll just randomly start like whistling it and I'll be like, gosh dang it.
I don't randomly whistle it, but I really like it.
Yeah, like
what's his name? He's talented.
His name is Jesse Tucker. He's actually a friend of mine. I did a college Bible study over at FPC O'Fallon.
Okay, yeah.
And that's how I met him, through a mutual friend of mine that does music stuff. But yeah, he does this kind of stuff all the time. He told me that he's spent probably over $10,000 on like Ableton software, and he kills it.
That
and
is
like
fantastic.
that right there, it's like pretty legit. He spends like hours on this stuff, and it's like, whoa.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of the Musial Suspects. We're really excited to kind of talk about some things tonight. My phone just went blank here, which is where my notes are. But some exciting news. We are now officially SoundCloud rappers.
Get ready for the awesome pictures.
Yeah, we're gonna do a SoundCloud rapper photo.
Should we get like a legitimate photographer to do some? Like,
we could
get Pastor John.
I was gonna say, I know people that's got some legitimate photographs. We'll do an album cover is what we'll do. Yeah, it's gonna be gnarly.
That'd be awesome. We can make that like our profile picture on Facebook for a little while too.
Okay,
great.
So the ironic thing is at the time of recording, I have yet to upload episode 2 on YouTube. But episode 1 and episode 2 are up on SoundCloud, which I don't know if you've got that pulled up yet or not, or what the location is.
Yeah, so if you go on SoundCloud, it's just soundcloud.com/Musial Suspects. It's pretty simple. It should pop up pretty easily. I actually checked it out earlier. If you go on SoundCloud and just search the Musial Suspects, we pop up right at the beginning. So that's always a positive. And then I've also managed to put tags in there, too, for, like, Cardinals podcast. So if you just search Cardinals podcast, we should pop up pretty quickly on there as well. And then also for other social media, Facebook, same thing. Facebook.com/Musial Suspects should be the way to go. Otherwise, just search the Musial Suspects, and I'm pretty sure, again, we're, like, the first thing that pops up.
Right.
And then Twitter, it's a little different because, unfortunately, on Twitter, somebody decided to use the Musial Suspects. So we're actually at Suspects Musial. So if you go on Twitter, it's at Suspects Musial, and then you can follow myself on Twitter at Aaron Arch City. I post articles that I write for Arch City Sports and Arch City Media. That's where I post all of my articles. And then just, talk about a little Cardinal baseball, some other sports on there as well. But right now it's baseball season, so I talk baseball.
Hey, and I haven't thought about this yet, but as the baseball season wraps up and we move into other sports seasons, I'm a big hockey fan. Aaron's a big football fan, and there's other things going on.
Let me be clear. I'm a big college football fan.
That's fair.
The only thing I like about the NFL is the NFL draft, and only when guys from my school get picked, which we did get one guy. But it was in the first round, so it worked out really well. But then we got nothing the rest of the year, which, didn't shock me a whole lot. But
well, yeah, I mean, they are the Razorbacks. So.
Yeah, we're not, I'm not saying that we're, talentless, but we're not talented. So there's a reason we went 4-8 last year. I didn't expect us to get more than, 5 wins, but everyone in the country was like, oh, yeah. They could be a bowl game team. They could win a bowl game this year. No, they couldn't. I guarantee you they couldn't. Even if our quarterback wouldn't have gotten hurt. No. But I am trying to brush up more on hockey stuff just because, at certain points of the year, it's tough for me to, throw baseball on people because it's just not that time of year. Well, so I tried getting into it. But my involvement was listening to ESPN radio. And so I would just listen to what they were talking about, and then I could still have intelligent conversation with hockey fans and totally know what was going on just because I listened to the radio.
Look, if you love sports, you love hockey. You just don't know it yet, and I'm gonna get you hooked.
I have yet to go to a game, and
I will take you to a game,
and I need to.
And the best thing about hockey, no doubt, 100%, the fans and the players feed off the fans, and it's more visceral in hockey than it is in anything. I have never gone to a football game where the entire crowd got into chanting specifically at one player, "You are ugly." But we went to a game, and this guy's name was Mark Ricci, R-I-C-C-I, all right? He played for the San Jose Sharks, and he fell out the ugly tree and hit all the branches on the way down.
Nice.
Scott Trade was rocking Richie's Ugly every time he was on the ice, and it was great. So if you don't know who that is, take some time, stop the podcast, pause it, Google him, and you'll be like, oh,
Ooh.
yeah,
Oh.
Ricci. Ugly. So that's Mark Ricci. I'm sure he's a nice
Look him up
guy.
right now.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, but good night. So anyway, as you can kind of tell, we're in a good mood. And while Aaron's looking this up, I'm gonna share something with you. I don't know if you've heard the air in the background, but we're actually out on my back deck enjoying the nice weather because apparently spring has finally arrived in St. Louis, which is super exciting.
How do you spell his last name?
Ricci. And you'll hear the reaction because it's unfortunate. So anyway, we're out on our back deck. We got a sports park behind us real close, and I don't know if you can hear the kids yelling or anything like that. So there might be some wind noise, and there might be some crickets and frogs and stuff like that because there's a pond kind of close. But it's just such beautiful weather, and I thought, hey, why don't we do the podcast outside? So we are outside. The other thing, did you just find it?
He's got a mullet, too.
Uh-huh. Well, most hockey players have mullets.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you look at him from a profile, he kind of looks like a shark.
I mean, in a way, but I mean, if you're gonna pull up someone that looks like a shark, look up Michael Fassbender. Dude played like the new Magneto. Oh my gosh, like his smile, it looks like Bruce from Finding Nemo.
Bruce. Yeah.
My
No, this
name is
guy
Bruce.
this guy looks more like a blue shark, not a great white.
Yeah, he
Anyway,
doesn't look that intimidating.
That's
or
too much. That's too much biology for us. But anyway,
Yeah, isn't this a Cardinals podcast?
it is a Cardinals podcast, and we're in a good mood, which means the Cardinals had a good day today. They kind of wrapped up a 2-game series. Well, they definitely wrapped up a 2-game series against the White Sox, and sort of made up for the 3-game fiasco that was the Pittsburgh series.
Yeah. If you guys have listened to episode 2, we actually started recording that near the end of Friday night's game, where, for the most part, we had kind of like watched part of the game before that. And going into the ninth, it looked fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to spend too much time on it only because we kind of touched on it there. But basically, long story short, they bring in Holland. Things did not go well. And they ended up losing in the 11th inning. I think Hicks was the person that gave up the game-winning run. And they lost 6-5. But near the end of the podcast, I'm like, I'm really looking forward to it. Flaherty's going tomorrow, and then you've got Luke Weaver, and neither one of them pitched particularly bad. Neither one of them pitched particularly good.
No.
You had Flaherty, who went 5 innings, gave up 3 earned runs. I think he walked 4, and that's never a good sign. And then Weaver went 5 1/3 and gave up 4 runs. I didn't see that game but from what I saw, he had better command. He just got unlucky, but whatever.
Well, and the thing is, too, it's like, okay, can we stop calling for, like, pushing these guys into the rotation to take the place of some veteran pitchers? Because we know, as young pitchers, they're going to have growing pains. They're going to have clunkers. It's just going to happen. I don't remember who I heard it from. I want to say it was probably Randy from 101. But he said the main difference, and it could have been BT also, but the main difference between a major leaguer and a minor leaguer is consistency.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, if you can hit a home run in the minor leagues, you can come up and you can connect with a fastball or a curveball or whatever. In the majors, you're just not going to do it as consistently. And so, like, part of making that transition is being able to do what you do at the highest level.
Yeah, and you know what?
All the time.
And at the highest level, when you finally get there, there are so many things that you can do nowadays to kind of like, you can get so much video on a pitcher, you can get so much video on like a hitter's tendencies that like, even if you have like a really good breakout year, it seems like every time they come out like the next year, it's like considerably worse. You saw Diaz last year, he raked for most of the year, hit like 300, and then, we traded him last year because he couldn't keep a spot, and DeYoung was tearing it up. But I haven't seen quite as much of a regression from DeYoung.
Right.
At least this year. He's still got a pretty good pop to him. But
Got some holes in his swing, though.
Yeah. Still batting. I think he's got his batting average up to like 267. And like, if he bats 260 to 270, I am okay with that.
Right.
He's not the best defensive shortstop, but he's our best defensive shortstop.
Yeah, he's not bad. And I mean,
he's a solid
serviceable.
shortstop.
He's serviceable.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that with Carpenter playing second base and DeYoung at short, we have the best middle of the infield. However,
I feel really bad with Carpenter right now.
Wong is playing him some defense.
Yeah.
That guy, he can flash the leather.
He should probably hit the weight room though, so he can carry those Gatorade containers.
Yeah, you saw that too, huh?
But yeah, like his glove honestly is the reason that he is put in the lineup. Like I wish
glove and legs.
Yeah. I don't know what his problem has been at the plate, but it hasn't been pretty. But for crying out loud, with the defense he's playing at second base, it's tough to keep him out of the lineup because with Carpenter, he's not batting well either, but defensively, oh man, what's the word? He sucks, man.
Well, he's
not great.
He is not.
And I would hate putting him at third because every time he throws the ball to third base, I close my eyes.
Well, the thing is he is not your prototypical second baseman body type or anything like that.
No.
Now, because he's a good ball player in general, he can play that position, and he can do it at a major league level, even though it may not be like the best ball player there. The fact that he can come up and he can play first, third, second, and even like when he first came up, he played a little outfield too. I bet you if you put him in the outfield again, not saying that we should do this, don't hear me out. But I bet you he would be okay out there.
We've had enough experiments throwing infielders into the outfield and vice versa. I think we should just stick with what we have. But I have an issue right now with Martinez playing first because when he catches the ball, oh my gosh, like keep your foot on the bag just a little bit longer because every time he catches it, I'm like, I think he had his foot off the bag.
Yeah, I feel like he's getting the benefit of the doubt a lot.
Every time they call over and they're like, oh, we're gonna have a look at this. I'm like, you should because I'm sitting here going, bro.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what his deal.
6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, he's pretty big.
I mean, he doesn't have to do that. Now, I get probably with the Achilles thing and the knee injuries, you don't want somebody to step on your heel, and that guy running across his heel, the other day, that's probably still fresh in his mind. So he's probably looking to catch the ball and get off the base as fast as possible.
Probably.
But whatever.
So when he's doing it simultaneously, it's like,
oh yeah, I do. I pucker. I'm like, he might have pulled that foot.
Yeah, I got tagged in something on Twitter earlier though, and it brought up a pretty good point. It's like, well, with Wong and Carpenter batting below the Mendoza line, and Jerko batting like 365 and playing plus defense at third base, why isn't he getting in the lineup? And I'm like, and the guy tagged me and another guy who hosts a podcast, and that guy goes, I don't know, you want me to give you the winning lottery numbers while I'm at it? Because I have no idea. And I basically, I came on and said the same thing. I was like, with Wong it makes sense because at least defensively, you see how capable he is. But I think the big thing with Carpenter is like his track record, and they're just praying that if he plays a little more, he'll figure it out and get it together. Because you're never going to do that if you're sitting on the bench. But for crying out loud, Jerko's been consistently doing pretty well the past couple of years. But the big thing that comes up that I kind of agree with is when he gets more of a full-time role, that's when he starts slipping.
Jerko slides off, yeah.
And when he's just kind of used in that super utility role, that's when he shines. And I'm like, well, that's great and all, but 364... Yeah, 364 together.
I don't know that playing the hot hand is such a bad idea, a bad strategy. I mean, it's 162 games, and you want to get your guys rolling. But two, what if with Carpenter, something that we've always been attributing to maybe where he's batting in the order is just maybe he's a slow starter.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not in the leadoff position, and he always hits so much better in the leadoff position. But they put him in the leadoff position.
I saw another thing on Twitter, and I wish I would have favored it or something so I could pull it up. But they showed his OPS in the month of April compared to every time else, and it's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not good in April. And then it showed his OPS in the leadoff position as opposed to the second, third, and fourth spot. And again, it's considerably higher as leadoff.
Right.
And it just brought up a lot of points. Well, if he bats leadoff and it's not the month of April, he's a really good player.
Right.
But if it's the month of April and he's batting third, it's oh man.
And right now he's not batting leadoff, and it is the month of April. No, it's May.
Yeah, it's May.
It's May. So hey, watch this. He's gonna start raking now. I'm calling it. Bold prediction: Carpenter bats 400 in the month of May.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt my feelings at all.
You think I'm crazy?
No, not really. I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I don't. I'm not thinking 400 just because I think they're gonna probably give Jerko a few more reps now that he's off the DL and is still hitting pretty well.
Yeah.
But I could say at least in the threes for sure, and then I think Wong is kind of the same way. But I did see something pulled up from Fangraphs. The batted balls and hard hit contact with I think it was with Fowler and Carpenter especially, their expected batting average compared to how well they've hit the ball. Carpenter's is like 95 points lower than what it should be, and Fowler's is like 65 points lower than what it should be. So according to how well they've, because apparently Carpenter is barreling up more balls than he ever has,
Okay.
but it's just
Going to people.
Yeah, it's going to people, and he's not. And they're playing him with the shift, and he's hitting into the shift. So he's just getting out more, and it's kind of the same thing with Fowler because we've been giving Fowler crap all year. Before his 2-run homer today, he was 4 for his last 44.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it is not.
Well, and the thing is too. I mean, you said they're barreling up balls, and it's the eye test. You can absolutely smoke a ball, but if you smoke it right to a guy, I mean, it just looks bad on the paper.
But the thing that makes it worse though is that he's also striking out more uncharacteristically.
Yeah, and
so
I would.
That's another thing with the eye test. It's like, yeah, he's hitting the ball hard, but then the next at bat he's striking out.
Yeah.
And people are like, but he doesn't strike out. He must be. He's probably hurt or something.
No, his bat's like Swiss cheese. But the thing is too, like, and I think we can say that now that we're this far into the season. March, April, into May a little bit. Even today, the Cardinals won, but they struck out 7 times. I think Ks are going to be a big issue for this offense. I don't see it going away.
It seems to me that strikeouts are becoming more of just a trend around Major League Baseball, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be worried about it for your own ball club.
Well,
because
the strikeout trend has paralleled the launch angle trend.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous though at the same time because like we brought it up last week. Striking out, it wouldn't bother me as much, but it's the amount of strikes that they're just watching.
Well, I can
you'll
see
watch
that.
a ball go right down the middle, and then you'll swing at a slider out of the zone. That's the stuff that just blows my mind.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, the strikeout rate's probably higher because you're not swinging the ball.
Well, if
you're
I've
not
got you
swinging the
0-2,
bat at strikes.
if I've got you 0-2, you are not seeing a ball that you can barrel up unless I make a mistake.
Yeah, but you shouldn't swing at that pitch if it's not something
you
good.
darn right.
And that's the problem is
You're
that they're
right.
swinging.
So, but the other thing, I forgot what I was going to say. It was a really good point. Y'all just
About the launch angle and the strikeouts.
Yeah, the launch angle. Manufacturing runs. You ever heard that expression before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not a lot of people do that anymore. I mean, it seems like with the Cardinals, what we like to do is we like to get 1 or 2 runners on and then hope for a home run.
Pretty much.
Which is really super exciting to watch when we're hitting home runs.
The funny thing is the only person on the team that looks equipped to manufacture runs is Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham.
He's
Tommy
going to hit a lot of doubles.
When Tommy Pham gets on base, Tommy Pham scores. But sometimes manufacturing a run is you get a walk or a single or a hit by pitch, whatever. The guy gets on first, and you get him to second by either bunting or hit and run or something like that.
Yeah,
you
do something to move the guy over.
Right, you attempt to move the guy over, even a stolen base. And they are running a little more this year than what they have been.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of times they're getting hosed. But
right.
They're at least attempting it.
Well, I saw that Yachty got caught stealing today.
Oh, darn.
Which just means
just means that the guy made an accurate throw in a decent amount of time.
He didn't get to walk halfway to the base before they realized he was going either.
That's like, oh man.
And the thing is, Yachty reads the play like for I don't know how many seasons in a row he led the Cardinals in stolen bases. And the thing is, that's an indictment on the Cardinals running, but Yachty's stolen base percentage was pretty high. If he went, he usually stole the base. Very rarely. So he knew how to read the pitcher. He knows how to read the pitcher and get a good jump.
He's a good base runner. There's a different, I'm pretty sure we brought it up before. There's a difference between a good base runner and a fast base runner.
Right. So here's my idea, and this is going to be a shocker, but have Yachty or Molina teach the guys
running clinic.
Teach the guys who are fast how to steal a base. This is This is what you're looking for. This is when you go. Because, I mean,
That's not the right accent, Brad.
you will not get a Yadier Molina accent out of me. I like him. I have too much respect for him.
Fair enough.
I like Albert Pujols, but I also like the Angas.
It's like Rangi.
Ranga. Well, we want to hit the ball, Anga. You know, Albert Pujols is so great. And kudos to him because he's closing in on 3,000 now.
They were talking about that on the Fast Lane. They're like, yeah, whenever he hits 3,000, he's going to have an exclusive interview with us on the Fast Lane. I was like, oh, I got to record that.
Yes. Yes.
I've got to get that.
Yeah. It's unfortunate it didn't work out where he could finish his career as a Cardinal and get
He
his
wanted too
home
much
runs.
money.
Well, yeah, I know. This doesn't make it not unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. I do not believe it would have been much different if he would have stayed with us as opposed to going to the Angels. I don't think he would have had like considerably better production over those years. I think he still would have been. He would have declined kind of how we saw him decline, but I don't think it would have been quite as drastic.
Well, and the other thing too, you got to consider is comfort and stuff like that. You know, there's the intangibles that play into that. I mean, he's always played in St. Louis. He doesn't feel like he's going like if
he still does things in the area.
Right. He is a St. Louis guy. You know, and it's unfortunate that he signed that little extra thing that after he retires that he's going to stay on for this many more years and be part of the Angels stuff because he's not an Angel. No.
Mike Trout's an Angel.
Yeah, Mike Trout's an Angel. And when Albert Pujols, and I'm saying this, when Albert Pujols goes into the Hall of Fame, because he's going to, he needs to go in as a Cardinal because that's where he was.
I would have
at his
no
best.
problem kind of doing that whole thing where, guys will come back for like a day contract to retire with a certain team. I would have no problem seeing that happen.
But I don't know if his contract allows him to do that, if that makes sense.
I think at that point in his career, I think someone can make an amend.
Right? That would be kind of cool.
Because I think he's kind of deserved it. Now, when he was a Cardinal, everyone thought, like, and me included, I thought he had a chance to, really go for that home run record. Now, he's really going to have to, like, tear it up. Which, I mean, so far this year, from what I have seen, he's played pretty well. Now, granted, I don't know how much longer he's going to do that for, but I would like to see him close on some more numbers. But, I mean, right now, if he retires today, he's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
He's
done
once he gets
3,000.
Once he gets 3,000 hits, like
who has 3,000 hits that's not in the Hall of Fame?
Adrian Beltre. He's still playing,
but he's still playing,
yeah.
right?
There's not many. I don't think there is any.
Right.
I mean,
oh man.
I mean, he's batting 239 this year.
This is just a nice trip down memory lane, thinking of Pujols back in the day and.
When I first moved here, I had I got to see Pujols play, and that was just so cool because at the time, he was the best player in baseball.
And that's funny because like I've always lived here, and the stuff that we see we're taken for granted.
Mm-hmm.
So to get to see somebody like Pujols play. So that being said, the other thing that we need to remember and recognize, because Yadier Molina just passed Johnny Bench for 16th. I get 16th.
For like innings caught, right?
Innings caught, all right? That's history, man. Yadier Molina is a once-in-a-generation catcher. Now, I know people talk about Buster Posey, but it's not the same.
No. Like, the something that's been brought up a lot is comparing Yadier Molina to Joe Mauer. Because, Joe Mauer's getting to the end of his career. He just had, I think it was like 2,000 hits or something. And they're trying to compare and contrast them, but they both had two completely different games. Like, Yachty didn't really hit his offensive stride until later in his career.
Right.
But Mauer was looked at as more of an offensive catcher, but then he only played catcher for, like, part of his career.
Right.
And then he played first base.
No, you can't pull...
So I hate the fact that they're trying to compare him like, well, Mauer's got way better numbers. Look at his WAR. It's, like, 15 points higher than Yachty. I'm like, yeah, well, defensive WAR is like, ridiculously... Yeah. It's not even close to being as...
No, Joe Mauer doesn't even make the field on a defensive catching team.
No. Yadier Molina is one of the best defensive catchers of all time. And that I think is where his case lies most as a Hall of Fame case.
Right.
Because offensively, he is an okay hitter.
When you he's a plus. I would say he's a plus hitter.
For catchers, he's a plus hitter.
Right. So
But his first couple seasons is what really kind of... kill his career numbers because the beginning of his career he batted like 230,
and he didn't have to be the hitter because Pujols was the hitter, know. But the other thing is too, you look at it and you start talking about catchers and stuff like that. I remember Pudge Rodriguez, Ivan
Mhm.
Rodriguez. That dude was a stud.
He was a stud on both sides.
He was the guy. I mean, he was the guy. And they were talking about nobody runs on Pudge. You know, and that is Yachty. I would say Yachty has probably surpassed him as a defensive catcher.
Yeah.
As a team leader, he is right there with him now because, I mean, Yachty is the heart and soul and the emotional driving force behind this team. Whenever what's his name from Arizona, you know, cussed him out or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was great.
He's like, "What?" You don't say. And dang it, Major League Baseball, there should have been major consequences for that guy instigating because as soon as he said it, you can look at his reaction and know that's the buttons I wanted to push. Now I'm done. He get that smirk on his face and he threw his hands up in the air. You know who else who puts their hands up in the air? The bad guys. I didn't do it. Yeah, it's the same thing. Same thing burglars do when they come out of the building and there's cops out. Hands up.
Yeah.
So anyway,
but yeah.
That being said, let's roll on into this. Let's do a quick recap of this Pittsburgh series.
Oh gosh.
So
it wasn't good.
well, you wasted. Michaelis had a great
start. 7 innings, 2 runs. Guess how many walks he had? Yeah, I'll give you a hint. It's 0. It's been the most consistent number all year.
So if you compare
0,
if you compare his most recent start to, you know, and I know I'm kind of blending some things here, but if you compare that to what Carlos Martinez did today, it's pretty close. I mean, you know, Tsunami's a little more lightning and electric with his stuff, but dang, you know, 7 innings pitched,
3 starts in a row.
2 earned runs.
3 starts in a row of 7 innings. He goes tomorrow or not tomorrow?
Yeah, he's leading off the series against the Cubs. Are we playing them tomorrow?
I don't know. I think we have an off day tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, he leads off the series against the Cubs. He's going against Jose Quintana.
Jose
Quintana? Yeah, Quintana. But yeah, he's going against Quintana, and you know, the Cubs rotation is not very good.
No, they're struggling this year.
At least right now. I mean, Darvish, you know, how much money did they give him?
A lot.
How much money did we give Michaelis? Yeah. We're not all stupid, guys.
You're right.
Everyone wants to blame Mo and Gersh and Matheny for all of our problems, but I mean, you know, how much money is Bud Norris and Miles Michaelis making this year? Anyone? About like $11 million.
Those are good.
Total.
Those are good signings, but nobody saw that coming either. I don't.
No.
You can't sit there and tell me that Mo or Gersh saw that coming.
I think they saw the potential.
I think they saw something good, and I think everything that they're getting now is icing on the cake. But to say, hey, we saw him throwing like an ace, and it's like, well, like an ace. Well, but I mean, you get a pitcher that's always throwing 7 innings.
Have you read my my piece about Michaelis that I wrote back in like January?
I did not.
Oh, I've been high on this for a while. Like,
Aaron likes being right, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it did make me pretty happy knowing that he's been pitching well, and it's fun going on social media and everyone goes, "Oh man, I guess I was wrong." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." But
you know who doesn't have to say that? Me.
Well, basically, my initial post that I wrote, because, you know, I did more research on him because over in Japan, he was a stud. Mm-hmm. And I did a little bit more research, and I compared him to some other top starters that came out of Japan. I compared him to Shohei Ohtani because that was the guy, you know, same class. You know, they both got on a team this year, and everyone was so high on Ohtani. And so, you know, I put Ohtani's numbers up there. I put Yu Darvish in the numbers coming out of Japan, just as Japanese stats, and then Masahiro Tanaka, because that was another big name, pitches for the Yankees. I put all the, like, not all of their stats together because, you know, that's just a lot of information. And if you're not a big baseball person, some of those numbers are going to go right over your head. So I put kind of like the basic ones. I put like, I put ERA, I put WHIP, and then I put walks per 9 and strikeouts per 9. Just to show, you know, overall efficiency and kind of a glimpse into their stuff and how well they can get guys out. And I put all 4, just put A, B, C, and D, but I didn't say who it was. I showed those numbers to my girlfriend, who knows enough about baseball. She has a bunch of a family that plays baseball, so she's been around the sport for a while, so she kind of understands what these numbers mean. And I was like, so out of these 4, which one is like... which one would you pick? Yeah, she picked Michaelis, And I was like,
Right.
thank you, sweetie. You
Yeah.
are the best. But compared to these guys, they were very comparable numbers. I put if I put a number 1 to 4 in each category that they were winning.
So, but and then so I think with
Otani.
Otani, I can I always read it. I never know how to say it, so I say it all different sorts of ways in my head. But anyway, when you look at him, kind of like part of the appeal of him is the novelty that he's a two-way player.
Yeah.
But doesn't he have some electric stuff?
Yeah, he throws about his fastball hits over 100 on occasion.
Right. So and now to be fair to Michaelis, he did reach back and grab 97 in the one game.
I think he's hit 98 this year, but yeah, I mean he can reach back and hit 97.
But that he doesn't he is a lunch pail hard hat kind of guy.
Yeah.
He comes out, he goes 7 innings. He does it because he throws strikes, and that's not as exciting.
Probably not.
Unless you're winning.
Yeah.
Which, winning is awesome. So he goes back and he does that.
His strikeout rate is actually up against his career average because he was in the major leagues for a little bit.
Yeah.
A few years ago, but his strikeout rate is higher than what it was in his previous MLB tenure, and his walk rate is also significantly lower.
Right. And the other thing was too, he was basically what is considered a failed major league player that went to Japan to try to work it out. And that doesn't work all that often. And so I can see why there wasn't as much shine on him, even though his numbers are really good. I can see why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
But, like you said, like you implied, a good general manager is going to be able to look through that and be like, you know what, though? The price is right.
Yeah. And something that was pretty interesting is that there were a lot of teams that were actually in on him. The Cubs were in on him. He chose the Cardinals.
Right.
So, granted,
well, I'm glad he's starting against him because he's like...
Yeah, it's like, guess what, losers.
I just thumbed my nose, but you can't see that on a podcast. Hey, that which reminds me, one of the things we would like to do is we would like to do a video podcast.
Ooh.
So if you guys enjoy this and you think it's worth your while...
and you can watch our sick dance moves during the intro.
Oh, you know it. Maybe you could, I don't know. We joked about doing Patreon so we could buy equipment to help do this podcast. But, maybe that's not a bad idea.
It's not the worst idea.
Anyway.
Yeah, we got to pay for SoundCloud Plus so we can have more than 3 hours of upload time.
So if we do Patreon and you guys donate, what, $9 a month?
Compare, all you have to do, if you donate like $1 and you get 8 other people to do that,
we're good. Yeah, we're good.
For a month.
Right. So, so the Cardinals go in there, offensive struggles, their bats went ice cold. They hit really well in that first game. They had 5 runs, but after that they had 2 over the next 2
games. They had 2
games.
runs over the next 2 games and had a perfect game going against them until the 7th inning against Trevor Williams, which funny enough is that I almost said something about that because from what I remember, the Cardinals, at least recently, are so bad against pitchers that they've never seen before. Oh, this guy's making his major league debut. I'm just gonna go out and no-hit you.
You know what? It's been like that.
I didn't want to say anything, but it's a trend that I've noticed. If we've never seen them before, they tend to do really well.
You know who else we don't hit really well? Anybody that throws left-handed.
Yeah. Should not be that hard of a concept, guys.
No,
He's just throwing it with his other hand.
Right. This ball's breaking into me.
Cool.
So one of the things I don't understand, maybe it's because I'm not a left-handed hitter, but I don't get the whole it's harder for a lefty to hit a lefty.
Because I'm a righty that hits a righty all the time.
Right. Nobody is like, it's a righty versus a righty. This is going to be trouble.
Yeah, well, I guess the whole idea is that even as a left-handed batter, you're traditionally going to see right-handers.
Right. And you're getting that favorable matchup. If batting against somebody that's the opposite of whatever it is you hit is a favorable matchup, then a left-handed hitter has a favorable matchup against the pitcher more often than a right-handed hitter has against the pitcher.
I guess so.
Because that's what we do. We bat against right-handed pitching because, I don't know what the stats are, but I bet you it's almost 70% of people are right-handed.
I think in the major leagues, it's even because I know in terms of everyone on Earth,
right?
It's ridiculous amount of people are right-handed compared to left-handed,
Right.
but I actually think in the major leagues there's a higher percentage of left-handed players because if you can find a left-hander who's at least decent,
Right. Right.
he's
Like
of good value to you.
those of you with children out there, if you can teach your kid how to pitch and he's left-handed, there's a good chance that he can be a major league reliever.
Pretty much.
Come in, just learn how to throw against left-handed players. Learn a slider, throw some strikes. So they go through this series, and I looked at the standings at the end of the series because going into the series, the Cardinals were leading the Central. At the end of the series, the Cardinals were second to last. Last being the Reds. So let's just kind of sweep them to the side for now. If you're above the Reds but nobody else, you're in last place in the Central.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, they were only a game and a half behind everybody else, which means that the Central is really tight.
Oh yeah, I
don't know
saw
if
something yesterday. I wanna look it up just to see if it's still similar near the end of the night. But yeah, so right now between the first 4 in the NL Central, it's 1.5 games.
Okay.
Milwaukee, then we're a half game behind. Chicago's a half game behind us. Pittsburgh's a half game behind them, and then Cincinnati is 11 and a half.
Chicago's behind us now.
Yeah, Chicago's half a game behind us. Milwaukee's 19 and 13. St. Louis is 17 and 12. Chicago is 16 and 12. Pittsburgh is 17 and 14. Cincinnati is 7 and 24.
Man.
But here's what's great: the team that we faced in this last series is now 8 and 20.
So they're like
and they're not even the worst in the Central in the AL. Kansas City is 8 and 22.
So basically, we played kind of the Cincinnati White Legs.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, and what's great though is that we're playing the Twins, and then we go and face the Padres, and then we go and face the Twins again.
Well, listen, we need to make hay then.
Yeah, the Twins coming into this series, we're facing the Cubs first.
Right.
And so this is a series that we need to at least take 2.
Right.
If we take 2, we've got a little bit extra padding over them. But then we face the Twins, who are tonight are 10 and 16. And then the Padres, who are 11 and 21.
Okay, so
and then we face the Twins again.
So we had talked about this in our first podcast. The way that you win and play or get into the playoffs is you crush the teams you're supposed to beat, and you play 500 ball against everybody else.
Yep.
We have been crushing the teams we should beat. We are not playing 500 ball against everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, and to be fair, I would have put Pittsburgh in the category of teams we should crush just for the lack of talent on their team.
But I don't know, man. They're playing pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing okay, but they also played really bad against Philadelphia. But apparently Philadelphia is really good, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Seems Jake Arrieta is the only late signing that's actually paying off.
Wow.
'Cause
I kind of wondered, and maybe they did. I wondered why the Cardinals didn't take a flyer on him.
Because he wanted $25 million a year.
Okay,
and they got
Michaelis
for 7.5.
But would it have been? Well, I know, but still, I mean, just imagine adding Arrieta to the rotation and dropping somebody else out.
Well, yeah, and that's another problem. Who would you drop out?
Oh, one of the young guys.
Probably Weaver then.
Yeah.
Because the only other one, maybe Waka. Coming into the year.
No, though, he's pitching good.
Yeah, he's pitching good so far. Which is great.
I think he's kind of. I'm gonna say that he is starting to come into his own.
I'd hope so. It's his 6th year in the major leagues.
Now watch. He'll go out the next time and.
But no, I
have
agree
a
with you.
clunker,
He's pitched remarkably better than I thought he would be. And so right now it's tough to get him out of the rotation. But at the same time, I also I was telling you a little bit earlier, I think on our first podcast is that I have a little bit of a prediction that we might trade him come off-season time.
You did say that.
And if he's pitching well enough, it gives especially because you've got Flaherty. Reyes is set to make a minor league start.
I saw doing an extended spring training thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gonna have an extended spring training start in Florida. So
you do have a log jam in the starting rotation.
Yeah, so if you're gonna send someone out who's still got a little bit of team control that other teams are gonna be like, this could be okay. I think Walker's your guy right now.
Right.
You could get him out and easily replace him with maybe a Flaherty or maybe a Flaherty Reyes kind of combo.
Right.
For a while. So I would have I mean, I would because I like Waka, but I wouldn't have too much of an issue with them moving on just because the surplus of arms and we got to try to get some
Right.
people some outings every once in a while. And
You,
as well as Waka's pitched, we brought in Michaelis as kind of like the bridge between those guys, but now that Michaelis is pitching so well, it's
right.
like, well, crap, now we have to keep him in the rotation too.
So I think if you see Waka traded, somewhere along the lines this season, it's going to tell you a lot about what they think of his potential. I think that Waka kind of suffers a little bit from like early dominant success, if that makes sense. I think that he set the bar so high for himself in those playoff games that he's suffering a little bit from it because people are expecting that Adam Wainwright, Chris Carpenter in their prime kind of thing. And he does fit that mold. He throws the 12 to 6 and that sort of thing. But maybe he's not that guy.
Waka always blows my mind, though, because I remember, I think it was not last year, but the year before last, we actually went with the college group to a game, and Waka pitched like a stud.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, he was throwing like 92, 93, 94,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, like, he throws one, and I look up to the, it's got the radar up there, and it's like 99. It's like, do that!
Well,
like, like, I don't understand how he can go from like 92, and then all of a sudden he's throwing like 99.
Well, I've listened to
it just blows my mind.
To Hungo talk about this a couple times, and he's like, yeah, you can go up there. He goes, I bet you a lot of these pitchers out here could sling almost 100 miles an hour. He goes, when you're starting, you got to keep a little something in the tank. Of course, Ricky Horton always chimes in with like, I never could touch 89, but
yeah.
The thing is he said you got to keep a little something in the tank. He goes, that way you've got a pitch in your back pocket that you can pull out. Maybe you can reach back and grab a little bit more when you need it. So pitching's an art. But I guess what I'm getting at with Waka is that maybe he's not ace material. He's still a good pitcher. And I see what you're saying. It does shape up really nice if he's having a strong year and the Cardinals don't really have confidence in him being something else, and they're going to have to poke the logjam a little bit and get rid of somebody to get these young pitchers flowing. He is the perfect candidate to send down the river. I think that they hang on to Michaelis, but it also will tell you an awful lot if they send Michaelis down the road what they think of Weaver, Flaherty, Reyes, and Michaelis.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So anyway, the Cardinals, they get swept out of there. They got shut out against was that their last game? They didn't score a run.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That kind of showing signs of what has frustrated me is that not that they can't hit, but they don't hit consistently.
Yeah, they scored 2 on Saturday, and then they got shut out 5-0 on Sunday.
That's unacceptable.
And they had 3 hits.
So they had 3 hits in those 2 games?
No, they had 3 hits in that game. And
okay.
Guess how many walks? 1.
1 walk.
They got 4 base runners.
Yeah, that's not a strong performance. That's not going to get the job done.
No.
But then the offensive struggles continued into the White Sox series. Yeah, they won 3-2 in that first game, but
they won 3-2 in both games.
Well, that's true. But James Shields, 2 hit him.
Yeah, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run.
What did they end up with as far as hits? So I mean, that was a comeback game, kind of, right? They were leading 1-0.
I'm pretty sure they were both kind of comeback games.
Well, they jumped out to an early lead in both games. At one point, they were leading.
Yeah, St. Louis won, got 1 run in the first, and then Chicago scored 2 in the fourth off Waka, and then the Cardinals scored 2 in the ninth.
Right.
Off of a double.
Right.
I think they scored 1, and then Yachty hit another.
Right.
Yachty
hit a double, and
guy,
that's what walked it off with Ozuna.
Yeah, let me pull it up because James Shields gave up 2 hits. And then Bruce Rondon came in for an inning and gave up 2 hits. And then Soria came in for a third of an inning and gave up 3 hits.
Yeah.
So they got 5 hits in an inning and a third. Or 2 and a third innings off their relievers.
So it's a little wakey, but I mean, that's not great.
No, not really. And I don't think they did particularly better today.
No.
I mean, the offensive juggernaut, which is Carlos Martinez, got him on the board with a home run.
A Tsunami with his first career home run.
Well, and we were talking about earlier about manufacturing runs. They got all 3 of their runs on home runs. They had 4 hits today.
Right.
4.
Right.
But they got 2 home runs and managed to win the game.
And you're not old enough to remember this, but in the '80s, Whitey Herzog was the manager, and they played something they called Whitey Ball, and you're talking hit and run, stealing bases, you know, all the little things, bunts, squeeze plays. It was small ball, but it was exciting ball.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps teams off balance when they don't really know what
If
exactly is
if
happening.
you know what too, and if you can get a guy on base and that pitcher's worried about that guy running, he's splitting his attention between the runner and the pitcher, and that might give the runner and the pitcher. Listen to me, the runner and the hitter, and that might give your guy batting a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't strike out 12 times in a game. Because you're doing the little things.
You want to hear something interesting from today's game?
What's that?
Martinez's home run went farther than Fowler's. Martinez homered to center 407 feet. Fowler homered to center 404 feet.
Oh! If I'm Martinez, I am rubbing that in. It's like, man,
it's like sorry.
You've been hitting home runs
I
for-
saw something on Twitter. It was like, sorry, Carlos, we can't do anything at the plate for you today. Don't worry, I got this.
Yeah, that is a staff ace. It's like, well, if nobody else is going to score runs, I guess I'll do it.
I mean, that was like Michaelis.
That was
in his first
Michaelis
start.
in the against the Brewers. I got this, guys.
What's funny though is he jacked that ball too. It's like put a good swing on it. It's just like
I would love to see
He-
what the odds were on between Michaelis and Ohtani, who would hit the first major league home run after coming from Japan. Because if I could
no one would have put it on Michaelis.
yeah, because if I had me a DeLorean that could go back in time, I totally would
I
have done
would've-
that, and I would have bet my
what's
savings
Vegas
on it.
said? What's Vegas said is the over under for this?
Yeah. I'd have
I'm
a
gonna
gi-
put 100 on Michaelis.
I'd have
What
a
what
gigantic
what do I get if I
hotel.
win? Yeah, what do I get if I win? $6 million. Okay,
Okay,
yeah, I'm gonna take that.
I'd have that gigantic hotel with my name across the
Yeah.
top.
Bits.
I'd run Brad's. Maybe I'd run for president. Sit around instead of just sitting here, have just a big stogie in my mouth that I would chew on rather than smoke.
Yeah, it's just made of bubble gum.
It's one of those things you give out whenever you have babies, but you don't smoke cigars. The pink and the blue bubblegum
Yeah.
cigars.
Pretty much. But yeah,
Ugh.
that game wasn't so hot for them either. I mean,
It's not.
hey, Carlos is batting .214 this year,
Yeah, you
which is
gotta
better
take
than
it.
Colton Wong, Dexter Fowler, and Matt Carpenter.
Oh, I'm definitely sticking their noses in it if I'm I'm Tsunami.
That's a better slugging percentage than them too.
So we got 3 games coming up against the Twins.
Yeah.
What do you see? Or I'm sorry, not the Twins, the Cubs.
Yeah, the Cubs.
The Cubbies. The baby bears.
Well, I like the start on, I think it's on the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Star Wars.
Yeah. Heading out of town that day.
Um, I like that matchup only because it's Michaelis
yeah, it's going to
against
be a good matchup.
Quintana, because Quintana this year is 3-1 with a 5.74 ERA. It reminds me of Wainwright last year. Like 12-5 with a 5.1 ERA. It's like, what?
Well,
They scored when Wainwright was pitching.
yeah.
But Michaelis comes into the game 3-0, should be 4-0, but I won't even get into that. It's 3-0 with a 3.27 ERA. Their whip is ridiculous. Quintana 1.43, Michaelis 0.97.
Can I be completely candid with you here right now?
I don't know, Brad. Can you?
I can.
Can
But I'm
did you?
about to set myself off, and people are like, you know what? After this guy says this, I don't know that I'm gonna listen to anything he has to say. But I'm not even sure what whip is.
Walks plus hits per innings pitched.
Okay, so he's walking or giving up a hit
Yeah,
less
so-
than 1 hit per inning pitched.
Yeah, so
Okay,
a,
that
a
number
whip a whip is basically designed to show how many base runners. Yeah,
Okay,
base runners that
so
you're
he's
giving up.
he's allowing
Yeah.
basically less than 1 base runner an inning.
Yeah, which right now, with not there's a lot of pitchers who are pitching really well to start off the year. So it's not like he's in like the top 5 in terms of whip, but a .97, if you carry that the whole year, that's like pretty solid. Like that's like Clayton Kershaw type numbers.
Okay.
That's like the kind of whip he's putting on. So for Quintana, he's averaging 1.43 walks or hits per inning. So basically every inning
He's
he's
gonna give up a hit or walk somebody.
1.5 guys are reaching base, whereas Michaelis it's less than a runner per base
Well, that's
or
good.
per inning.
I will take that.
Yeah, for sure. something else. After his last start against Pittsburgh, his walks per 9 is .55.
Which is fantastic.
Best in the major leagues, boys.
My
Best
gosh.
in the major leagues. And you know what's really funny? I saw this. I was watching one of the games. I think I was over at my girlfriend's house, and the game was on, and it just caught me off guard. It didn't catch me off guard, but I thought it was very interesting. Michaelis leads the league in walks per 9 with that really low number, .55 walks per 9. He leads the major leagues in strikeouts per walk, so he strikes guys out a lot compared to a walk. But then something else that I found ridiculously interesting, he leads the major leagues in chase percentage.
So he's getting people to chase the ball.
Yeah, so when he's out of the zone, he's so close that people are swinging at it, and he leads the major leagues in chase percentage at 40% of the time.
You know what I like about baseball and baseball stats, and just sitting here listening to you talk about this?
There's so much.
Oh my gosh. So like in a world where everything has almost become subjective, baseball is one of those bastions. It's like, all right, here's my point. Michaelis is great, and here's why. Here are the numbers that are objective. This is my argument.
See, I love using and that's why I like coming to the table. Like, if people are going to argue with me about whether or not somebody's good, I want them to try to use something that makes sense, and stats make sense because it's what happened.
Right.
So that's why I like using statistics,
Right.
but I like using statistics that make sense for the situation. So when I tell people that Michaelis is efficient and someone wants to say, no, he's not, it's like, well, are you stupid? Because he clearly is.
Yeah, he
leads the major leagues in strike percentage. What are you going to say? Like,
if I had a young kid growing up who wanted to be a pitcher, I think I'm telling him, hey, approach the game like Michaelis does.
I mean, I think Michaelis should put on a clinic for how to throw strikes.
No, we need him. We just need him to throw strikes for the Cardinals so that
No, not for everyone else, just for us.
Just you and me.
Just get the rest of the guys in the rotation and maybe the bullpen guys and be like, okay, guys, so this is how you throw a strike.
Yeah.
You take the ball, and then the catcher puts his glove right in the strike zone, and your job is to throw that ball to the glove. To the glove, yeah. It's really not that complicated.
When the umpire raises his arm and points to the first base dugout,
that means you did
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that means
you
did it.
When he does it a second time, that's an even better thing. And then when he punches and pulls the string, yeah, that's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound stupid, but it's so satisfying, you know, like, and I can get it. I can relate because it's, even if it's just on a lesser level, I get what that euphoria might be to punch somebody out whenever you're pitching, because now I'm one of the older guys on the team. I'm not the oldest man on our softball team.
No, my dad's still playing.
Your dad's the oldest guy. And he told me last night, he goes, he doesn't like that Jim's not playing anymore because
he's the grandpa.
Now he's the team grandpa. But
and I was like, not yet, Dad, not yet.
When especially in slow pitch softball, because you have no business striking anybody out. You know, like I had a guy ask me, he's like, you hit that ball, it broke 2 foot. This wasn't last night. This is a while back. And he's like, how on earth did you hit it? That ball broke 2 foot. And I told him he threw it underhanded because it's slow pitch stinking softball. But anyway,
it's not hard.
When you throw it underhanded and you get somebody to either swing through it or just stand there and look at it like, and they strike out, it's very satisfying.
Oh, like last night I totally swung through one, but I honestly think I was just trying to swing it. Like, please just get something in play, because the wind was kicking up and I'm like, I do not want to walk. I just want to like get on base. And it's like the first one I swung through, I was like, all right, don't do that.
Yeah. I was thinking that as I was coaching first base. But anyway.
I was like, my second one didn't go much better, guys, but I would have beat it at first, maybe. I don't know. I felt good running.
We're kind of closing in on the end of our podcast. I mean, I'm really enjoying doing this. So let's do predictions for the Cubs series. I don't exactly know who the projected starters are.
Here, I got it. On the 4th, it's Quintana and Michaelis. And then on the 5th, it's Tyler Chatwood and Luke Weaver.
Okay.
Chatwood
He's been their
kind
best,
of deceiving. Right? It's like his ERA is 2.8, but his WHIP is 1.4.
Okay.
So it's like he
puts
on a lot of base runners,
but they don't come home.
Because the last time we pitched against him, he walked like 8 guys.
Right, and we lost that game though, didn't we?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
I think that was the one game we won. But then in the final game of the series, it's John Lester versus Michael Wacha.
All right, so predictions.
I I think we'll take it on the 4th.
Yep.
Um,
I agree.
but something about the Cubs lineup scares me a little bit with Michaelis because Michaelis throws strikes, and there's a lot of guys in the Cubs lineup that can hit strikes, and he's a primarily fastball pitcher,
Right.
and I think guys like Anthony Rizzo are going to be waiting.
Well,
But the thing about Michaelis that I like is that any pitch in his arsenal, he can throw for a strike.
mhm.
So if he thinks they're looking for a fastball, he'll drop a 12-6 curveball up in the zone. It's like
Right.
strike 3. I'm like,
Right.
okay.
So here's what I'm thinking.
But I think we'll take that one for sure.
Yeah, I think we win that game. I think that
The next
did you
two,
say it's-
honestly, toss up to me. Tyler
did
Chatwood.
Did you say
and,
Weaver is
Yeah,
going?
Tyler Chatwood and Weaver,
I'm
and then
I'm gonna say
Walker.
Weaver's struggles continue.
It doesn't help that his struggles began with the Cubs. I'd like
Yeah.
to say maybe he turns it around against the Cubs. That'd be
I'm gonna-
great.
I'm gonna say-
but
I'm gonna
that's again,
say-
it's a formidable lineup with a guy who is having some command issues. So
I'm gonna say so. Like in the first game, it's gonna be like a 3-1 Cardinals win. Okay,
that'd be cool.
I don't think the bats are gonna wake up, but I think that with Bud Norris being back, Chuck Norris,
Yeah.
I think he's earned that nickname. I think with him being back, I think that the bullpen will sit on it. That and congratulations, by the way, to Jordan Hicks for reclaiming the title of the fastest fastball in the majors thrown so far. He hit 102. That is just outrageous, and he looks like he's about 15. But anyway, I digress.
Well, I mean, he's not much older. He's 21. What am I doing with my life? I almost struck out in church
Listen,
softball.
Yeah, listen, you weren't blessed the way he was blessed. It's all
Ooh.
right, man. Just accept that you're not going to be a major league pitcher. and
Yeah, I
that's
know. I
fine.
was just blessed with this soothing voice.
The silky smooth vocals.
All right.
So I'm calling 3-1 Cardinals. You know.
Oh, he
they-
reclaimed the top two. 102.0, 101.9.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call the Cardinals will win 3-1 in the first game on the 4th. You know, kind of like they get out ahead early and they sit on the Cubs and the bullpen brings it home. I'm gonna say that on the second game that Weaver's struggles will continue. And but I will say that the Cardinals will take advantage of some runs and it'll start waking their offense up.
Yeah, I think facing Chatwin's really going to help because, like I said, his ERA is pretty low, but his WHIP is so high. Like he puts base runners on, and I think the Cardinals will be able to take advantage
So
of that.
I'm gonna call a 7-5 Cubs victory on the second game. Are we writing these down?
I'll say 8. I'll say 8-4 Cardinals. I say I think Weaver's going to pitch fine. I think he's going to have a quality start, 6 innings, 3 runs.
Okay.
And then
And then for the third game,
someone will just give one up in like the 7th.
so the third game, I'm gonna call like a 12-9 game in favor of the Cardinals. I think Waka's gonna have a clunker, but the offense, being inspired by the previous games, waking that the offense will come alive and they're gonna shell John Lester.
If there was a person that they were going to do it against, it would not be Lester in my mind.
They're gonna shell Lester.
I'm
This is the fun
hesitant
part
against
about
I'm
doing
hesitant
predictions.
against Lester in this game, but if there's a game in this series that we're gonna lose, I think it's that one.
I think
I still think we'll take 2 or 3.
I think Waka's going to have a clunker, but I think the offense is going to carry him. So that's my predictions. And the one thing the little caveat, the little asterisk prediction I'm going to say is I'm going to say Schwarber is going to suffer a knee injury in
that's
one of the
not
first 2 games.
I mean, he
Don't
certainly
ask me
doesn't
why.
have
I think what he's going to do is I think he's going to swing out of his shoes and hurt himself in the box.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
I don't know why I'm so down on him. Can I be honest with you? I don't like Kyle Schwarber.
I mean, yeah. He can hit a home run, but I mean, what he's gonna bat like 210.
He's
I
a
don't see the,
what it like you know, pliers and hammers and wrenches. They're all a certain thing. What are they?
A tool.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
would say. I don't know. I just look at him and it's like he seems like he's just kind of a jerk.
Kinda, yeah.
You know,
I don't disagree with you.
and I have a little bit of respect for Rizzo.
Yeah.
I don't like him, but I do respect him because you know
I've seen some of his like kind of off the field stuff,
Yeah.
and like even on the field, but you know when people aren't looking, then I'm like, I think he's a
well
relatively nice
here's
guy.
the thing. he fought through, and he's a cancer survivor, and I'm sure because of that, he does a lot of work with other cancer people, especially probably little kids. I'm just spitballing and guessing. I don't have any proof of this whatsoever, but I feel like that's something that he would do. Because if that's something that you suffer through, I can see that being something that would be particularly near and dear to his heart.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, I think that's about. I mean, when we come back and talk, we'll probably shoot for next Wednesday again. I'm gonna throw this one up on SoundCloud tonight after I clip that little front part off of there.
Cool.
But I'll throw this up on SoundCloud tonight, and we're gonna be almost out of hours on SoundCloud. The good news
we'll
is
figure it out. Don't worry.
The good news is as we're pulling things off of SoundCloud, we'll be uploading new content until we can figure out the money thing. We will archive everything on YouTube. That way, if you want to go back and listen to some old ones, you might have to eat up your data because it's a video file instead of an audio file. But you know what? A lot of you guys out there, and don't act like you don't, you got the Verizon Unlimited plan. And if you're
I've
like
got the
in high school,
AT&T Unlimited, so.
And if you're in high school, mom and dad is paying for your bill, so you're getting the unlimited.
And even
I
better,
know
if you're at home, you've got that Wi-Fi.
And you know what? And I know, because I sub, I know that you guys listen to music via YouTube on your phones. I know you do. So listen to the podcast. All right. So, Aaron, you get ready. You cue that music up. And this time, last week we had that flub. I've already figured out what the issue was. And so hopefully we fixed it. You got it running? All right. So I'm going to fade this in, and we're going to fade out. This has been the Musial Suspects podcast.